So first of all, you're like an old school business guy in that sense, and now you're building a moonshot tech company. So talk us through a little bit about how you went from the evolution of like building profitable companies, which I think is the dream of most entrepreneurs. No one wants to depend on other people's money, but maybe you had a handful of things that you were almost like your own venture capitalist. Like what people don't know about you, I remember back in Colombia, you started Let Go, right? Which this was basically kind of like Airbnb before Airbnb, and it was a really an issue around timing and other things. But you funded that, and and that didn't work for whatever reason, and you lost some bunch of money on that, I'm sure. So you were kind of your own venture capitalist with your own. And so how has it been now transitioning to like Torre, where you've got this like massive, big idea, and you obviously, you're going to have resources in your capital. If you want to change how people, find jobs and, hire and, build a global monster, you're going to have to bring on, institutional investors. So talk us through a little bit more about how you went through the process of going from like the bootstrapping profitable businesses to like one of massive impact where you need financial resources beyond your own capital.
Yeah, before creating my first company, I was exposed to an entrepreneur in Miami, Alfredo Purrinos. He had a company called Rentalo.com. That company was on the travel sector. And it's kind of an Airbnb 1.0. So it was an early competitor of VRBO or Birbo, as they cultivate themselves. And he had bootstrapped this company. In fact, Birbo was bootstrapped. As well, I love those like vacation rental marketplaces. So that's what I learned. So when we started Voice 123, I assumed that you had to bootstrap those businesses. I knew what venture capital was because I had seen the crazy stuff happening during the .com era, but I didn't know what angel investors was. Or what angel investors were. Like that was something new for me. So the idea of getting a couple of hundreds of thousands of dollars never crossed my mind. I thought that VCs was the only way to go. And of course, for that was a different league than the league that I was playing in. So that's why we were forced to come up with a sustainable business model from the get-go. It wasn't out of choice. It was, once again, out of necessity for me. Now, because it ended up working well, I assumed that it was the best way to go, that I could simply use my capital for doing other things. And that's why with Let Me Go, which had the goal of being kind of a reverse action marketplace for lodging and accommodations, that not only included hotels, but included vacation rentals indeed, that I could do it with my own capital. And it was a very expensive lesson, $3 million out of our own pocket and 3 years of work before we had to shut it down. And then for the next one, with Bunny Studio, we created Bunny Studio, and I did talk to some investors. There is some actually interesting articles that Fred Wilson published because we did some hacking to be able to get a hold of him. And after a couple of conversations, I realized, I don't have to raise capital for Bunny Studio. I can actually use the cash flows of Voice 123 to grow this business and keep the freedoms that I like to keep. And indeed, after a couple of years, Bunny Studio was self-sustainable. It was growing, and it continues to grow, and it's been growing faster than Voice 123. Voice 123, by the way, just for context, is a marketplace for finding voice actors. It's the largest casting service out there for voice actors. Bunny Studio is more of an end-to-end marketplace for finding. Bunny Studio is a platform / network / service that allows companies to outsource the creation of creative pieces in digital format at a massive scale. So you can think of it as a kind of an enterprise level Fiverr or Upwork, where you're not leading with the freelancer, you're leading with a full team and APIs that allow you to create, for example, 1,000 audio ads within a couple of days, or automatically create the script for your businesses, where actually a human being is doing a lot of the work and making sure that it's top-notch quality. Anyway, so we ended up bootstrapping that company, and investors have been coming on a very periodic basis, telling us, hey, we'd like to invest, or like when you decide to raise capital, please let us know, because it's a really nice business to have. It's growing, it has really good margins, etc. Then in 2016 or so, after seeing the growth, after being exposed to the Endeavor network and the World Economic Forum's YGL network and YPO and all of that, I realized, okay, it is time for the grand finale. I can build something that has really massive impact. And part of the inspiration also comes from seeing you grow Viva Real in Brazil, and how some people that I had known for some time had been building things that were 1 or 2 or 3 orders of magnitude more impactful than what I had created. And a significant part of that had to do with they were not only using their own resources, but they were actually also going and tapping the resources of other people, both the monetary resources, but also networks and such. And that's why I decided to create Torre. From the get-go, I knew that Torre, being a moonshot, is not something that I was going to be able to do by ourselves, something that I was going to need many investors and many others helping us. And it was the first time that I decided to go out and raise capital in a systematic way. And it was scary because I had never done it before. I had invested already in many companies, but I had not actually gone out and raised capital. But yeah, last year I did it. And by the way, I started raising capital, and within 2 months we had a pandemic. So it was so stressful. But yeah.
If there's